what y'all been waiting for, ain't it?
Everyone has their own opinions, but I believe that there are some stories that should have never been asked. Back in 2020 was when I truly started to read manga. Before I watched anime here and there, I was mainly watching One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Hunter x Hunter. Once I caught up to One Piece and finished Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, I gained an insatiable hunger for more stories. I felt the intense gluttony for more shonen material. In short, I found a way to read manga and it was great. I was immediately able to fulfill my intense hunger for fantasy by continuing Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, and even reading new stories that changed my taste in manga drastically. In this time span of me reading manga, I found extremely new and great stories, one being Aiman. It was written and illustrated by Yuji Kaku in the year 2020 on November 15 under the weekly Shonenjump magazine. This was my first time I read a completely new manga. Reading every new chapter of this story was so interesting, witnessing the development of an entire new world with its own characters that have their own goals, which would eventually be fulfilled. To me, this felt like growing up alongside a childhood friend. I thought I was going to see the beginning and end of this manga. I thought I was going to be able to experience new things alongside these characters. What's even cooler is that the main character, Maru Kaido, wanted to be a manga character. That was his ambition. He wanted to get strong and fight like a manga protagonist. He even had parodied versions of other protagonist attacks. Shimon was very enjoyable, but it was unfortunately axed. Around this time is when I learned of the Shonenjump TOC, which is a chart that shows the rankings of new manga and the ones that are currently serialized. Aiman was neck and neck with another series titled Dororon, swapping back and forth between 15 and 16. These two spots are the worst. If your story remained here for too long, it was bound to be axed. It infuriated me. I was extremely biased.
Why does my new favorite series have to be stuck neck and neck with this
dookie butt, basic, generic, lackluster, plain, garbage, lousy, low-grade, paltry, shabby, bogus, cheap, shoddy, undistinguished, sorry, unacceptable, run-of-the-mill shonen trash. But I've grown up now since then, and I forgive Shonenjump, even though they have forsaken a series that I thought would be great. So let me give you the rundown on Aiman. Maru Kaido is a young boy with overwhelming strength. He gained from training to be a manga protagonist from when he was a kid. But he's so strong he can't even participate in normal sports, instantly destroying a sandbag and even other equipment while trying to practice boxing, and even destroying a sumo wrestling ring. Practitioner there saying no one needs a human weapon like you, and they tell him to try baking, which he also screws up. These failures leave him distraught, sitting on the stairs just before some thug walks up telling him to move out of the way because he's making them late for work. This piques his interest as he asks them what kind of work they do. The thug punches him with little effect, saying, "What's it matter to you?" He continues punching him with little effect while Maru says it's so cool that you have a job, accidentally breaking his collarbone due to his immense strength. This makes the thug reel with pain, and the other thug recognizes him as Maru due to rumors. They ask him how he throws a car, and he responds, "Just heave it." Maru asks them if they know of any battle places, with the thug replying that places like that don't exist. Also, I'm going to speed this up a tad bit so this doesn't take forever. Maru gives them a what-if scenario where a young girl is being chased by people, and that exact scenario is playing out as he explains it. These people run near him, and he asks them if it's a job opening, and they start a fight, which he easily wins. However, the boss shows up and shows his true face, literally. This is where we meet Aurora, and she wants Maru to join her family as a bodyguard through a Yakuza ceremony. Maru explains how he got his strength, and Aurora is surprised to learn that he's not a yokai and he's just human. The group and the boss show up again to show their true forms, and Maru says don't get his hopes up and says that he's been searching for a real fight all his life. Him and the boss have a one-on-one, which he one-shots the boss using his special Kamehameha technique. Anyways, which is just an uppercut. After that, he fights all of them with a happy expression. And I'm very sorry I had to rush this because I just didn't want the summary to take forever like it did in the last video. But I do recommend you guys read Aiman, as the small amount of material it has is very good. The art style and the direction it was going was fairly interesting, and it's unfortunate because it's actually the Yakuza aspects of the story that made it not as popular over in Japan, where it really matters. Anyways, give it a read. Another point I want to bring up is Shonenjump scheduling. I think some current series and newer series could definitely benefit from a bi-weekly schedule and even monthly schedules. My reasoning behind this is because take a monthly series like JoJo's. Its monthly schedule lets Araki create really detailed and information-packed chapters. I think even One Piece could benefit from a monthly schedule. It's such a large story in terms of information and just world building. Oda would also benefit as he could preserve his health better. The only downsides to a monthly One Piece are that the story would likely progress way slower as the frequency of chapters would drop, and Oda would probably face, not even probably, he would face public disdain. But a monthly schedule could allow those newer artists to get comfortable and plan out their chapters better. It sucks it'll never happen happen because the magazine's literally called Weekly Shonenjump. It does make me wonder what people tend to look for in newer stories. Jujutsu Kaisen definitely influenced a newer batch of manga that came out this year. 3 new Exorcist manga came out and only 1 of them survived, so there's definitely a standard that gets followed. And trends can definitely hinder creativity, making manga very generic or just too plain to really be noticed. But sometimes I feel a story just doesn't get the attention it needs just before it gets good. Not only that, I feel like timing also has a significant place. Just some time ago, Jujutsu Kaisen ended and My Hero was in the process of ending. Not only that, the extremely popular, since before chapter 1 was even published, Kagurabachi was gaining a lot of attention. So newer stories just weren't really being looked at as much. Now, Shonenjump isn't entirely to blame. Sometimes an author just doesn't have the right material. If any of you remember Kyokuto Necromance, it was published this year and is Fusai Naba's second manga after Alien's Area, a story which was also cancelled. A lot of people say that it had the same issues as its previous manga, being that the story used the same plot of a main character being mentored and joining an organization alongside introducing a lot of characters at the start with little substance. Or like the previously mentioned Dororon being extremely generic and being completely uninteresting, but for some reason being compared to Aiman, which I have no idea why. But moving past that, because I'm totally not angry about it and not still affected by it. But a potential great series being cancelled is extremely sad to me, because that's one more author whose dreams and ideas will never be met. The possibility of fans absolutely loving the series will never come to their author, and then they'll have to think of an entirely new series. But to wrap this video up, I think what really stings about losing manga like Ayashimon and other canceled series is the loss of further inspiration. Without newer content, the chances of us always seeing something similar are way higher. Not only that, art is always a representation of a person's soul, and when their work is canceled, it's like taking scissors to someone's heart, and you never really get to see where that series could have gone. And like I said before, it's not Shonen's fault for the way fans feel about certain series. People are gonna go for what's familiar, and as a company, Shonen Jump's also gonna go for what works. And what works doesn't always seem to get far either, so it seems like you really need to find the unique blend of creativity and genericness in order to really get the push, as something too generic doesn't work and something too unique doesn't work. It also makes me wonder, because there's definitely a screening process that they go through where you show them the concept and they tell you if they like it or not. So I wonder how many gems we've missed because of that process. But yeah, if any of you have made it to this point in the video and want to tell me some series that you were reading that got canceled, how did it make you feel, and how did you feel it scaled on the generic to unique like side of things? Like, was it too unique you felt and people just didn't pick it up because of that, or was it too generic but you thought it was pretty good, or maybe it even had like the perfect mix of both and it just came out at the wrong time? Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, as always please leave a like and subscribe. One more thing, shout out to Remo on Twitter. He made me this fire banner, bro, and he did it for like $25. He does it really cheap, so if you guys need one, you got to get it from him.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.